Activity 39 is about the meaning of independence in just the American context. This kind of was something I didn't notice for a long time until I was thinking about this meaning of liberty and of independence, put it in the liberty analyses, and then realized that even within the United States, you see this word independent being applied to state governments, and that's why I added to the definition not only not being ruled by foreigners, but also not being ruled by those outside of our political community. So for example, if you see the quotation with which Activity 39 begins from Madison, it's before letter A. We've seen this in a previous activity. Madison in Federalist 40 speaks of the states that they should be regarded as distinct and independent sovereigns. So, remember, outside of Article 1, Section 8, these reserved powers of the state governments, the states are the highest power and they are independent. And by independent, we mean that Texans are not ruled by those outside of the political community of Texas in these areas. We make our own laws for ourselves, and if the people of California and New York prefer other laws, then they're free to have those laws. This is something that is emphasized in our Texas Constitution in letter A. Texas is a free and independent state, subject only to the Constitution of the United States. So they're recognizing this setup that the state governments are not subject to the federal government. Texas is only subject to the U.S. Constitution. And so they go on to say, the maintenance of our free institutions and the perpetuity of the Union depend on the preservation of the right of local self-government, unimpaired to all the states, which means that this area needs to remain as large as it is under the Constitution. The federal government must stay within its limits of 1/8 as understood by those who ratified it. In this area, the state government of Texas and every other state is under the authority of the federal government. Any federal law is superior in authority to any state law or state constitution. But that's not the case in this area. In the area outside of the federal government's powers under the Constitution, the states are supreme and independent. This is emphasized by Madison also in Federalist 39, where he says that the federal government only has the powers in Article 1, Section 8, these certain enumerated objects listed in a way you can number them. And the U.S. Constitution leaves to the several states residuary and inviolable sovereignty over all other objects. In the beginning of letter B, he emphasized that the states form distinct and independent portions of the supremacy. So, again, not being ruled by people outside of the political community of Texas. Letter C also says in Federalist 40, Madison, that in these unenumerated cases, the states are left in the enjoyment of their sovereign and independent jurisdiction, acting independently of one another and of the federal government. Letter D is kind of a hard quotation, but what Madison is saying is, okay, the people of the United States are one people, nation, or sovereignty for certain purposes. Which purposes? These purposes, Article 1, Section 8 purposes. So anywhere where the federal government has authority in Article 1, Section 8, then people from all the states are going to be coming together to decide upon the laws, and will not be acting independently of one another. But, as Madison goes on to say, the people of the United States are not one people or sovereignty for other purposes. That's over here. In these areas, the people of the United States are 50 different sovereignties and can do things in 50 different ways. And that's the meaning of independence in the American